Hello again, everybody. This is going to be Jund League number 48. Almost on our way to magic number 50, but for now, we're at 48. So let's take a before I do any deck teching. Let's just go ahead and jump right into our the metagame breakdown that I like to do. We've got Uro piles still in at number 1, but now more recently integrating Omnath. And there are a few versions of this deck. There's just the Value Town pile, and there's also the pile playing the Saheeli Rai Felidar Guardian combo. Rakdos Shadow has risen back up to number 2. Heliod Company, sometimes using Eldamri's Call, up to number 3. And we've got Oops All Spells climbing all the way up to number 4, and then we have yet another combo deck in at number 5 in Amulet Titan. And then below that, we've got our hyper aggro and control decks that Modern has come to know and love over the past few months. We've got Blitz and more versions of Shadow, and we've also got Blue White and Jeskai Control. Jeskai Control basically just Blue White Control, but playing Flagstones of Trokir to combo with their Cleansing Wildfire to ramp them into their powerful Planeswalkers at 4 and 5. And then Death and Tax is a nice little mid-range deck. And then here we go. Jund, our hero, in at 11. We've got a very favorable matchup in at number 12. Eldamri's Toolbox, pretty similar to Heliod Company, also in the top 15. And then we've got Gruul, another fine mid-range deck. And then Mono Red Aggro, basically another variant of Blue-Red Blitz in at number 2. In at number 6. So the second version of Blitz is what I meant to say. So again, we're going to be experimentally playing Leyline of the Void. It's going to be good versus the Uro Omnath piles. At least in stopping the Uro, I'm hoping that a Leyline can just defeat the Uro, and then we could defend, and then we could put most of our energy towards defeating the rest of the deck. Rakdos Shadow, it should be fine for stopping the Luris plan. As well as versus Oops All Spells, obviously. Jund Death Shadow, obviously, with they have their various Delirium cards that become enabled with their stocked graveyard. I don't expect it to be good versus like the various mid-range decks, but I do want to have it versus a few of the more unfair stuff up at the top. And again, it is just experimental, so it's not necessarily the end-all be-all to the matchups that I wanted in, but I do expect it to be pretty good when we expect to see it. We did see in the meta that there are still lots and lots of mid-range decks, and I don't think I want to be one-for-oneing a majority of the time, so I've still got a great number of multi-for-ones. Things like Seasoned Pyromancer, Kolaghan's Command, and Bloodbraid Elf, Liliana of the Veil, Renin 6, Kroxa, Dark Confidant. Literally half of my 2-mana spells and everything to the right of it all have the potential of multi-for-oneing, and I really want to be emphasizing those multi-for-ones. That said, the multi-for-ones tend to be more mana intensive. So on the lower end, I'm making sure that all of my removal spells, like Fatal Push and Dreadbore and Assassin's Trophy, can answer the must-answer creatures of the present format. That said, I'm not playing Lightning Bolt in the main. Lightning Bolt most of the time will not kill stuff like Death Shadow, like Scourge of the Skyclaves, like Uro, like Omnath. So I'm maxing out on my Fatal Pushes in the main deck. And then if we play against something hyper aggro like Blitz, or in fact we see it as a number 12 deck, I can bring in extra removal spells that are hyper efficient at 1 mana if I really feel like that's needed. Am I doing anything big for Jund League number 50? Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Alright, so let's just go ahead and jump into the league. Modern League. Ooh, that is tiny. This hand doesn't have any meaningful way to interact, but we've got a pretty solid curve. I'll keep. If I'm on the draw, I'm almost definitely mulliganing this hand. If we're playing against a mid-range deck, this hand's likely to be pretty okay. If we're playing against something unfair, then this hand could very easily crumble. But I mean, it's hard to mulligan could be a potentially very playable hand, especially in the dark. Right, and Flooded Strand is probably one of the matchups where a hand like this is likely to pan out well. Thanks for the cheer, Snapcaster. Alright, so in the event that I draw Liliana of the Veil, I'm likely to want to play it. So I want to make sure to get a black source down here. So I'll just shock in the Overgrown Tomb and cast my Tarmogoyf. And I know this Tarmogoyf isn't very large, and if they're playing a red deck, they can bolt it. But we don't know that they're playing a red deck. In fact, it's not super likely. Alright, well, we don't have the removal spell for the Stoneforge. I know there's a new Bant deck that's been running around. There was a version that did pretty well recently, playing Spell Quellers and Noble Hierarchs. So the opponent doesn't know that we don't have a way to interact at instant speed. So this attack is kind of free. I doubt they block. And then the follow-up question is, what am I playing? Am I going to play the Ooze? Am I going to play the Pyromancer? Pyromancer can help me dig to ways to actually interact with stuff like this Batterskull. But I mean, no matter what I find with the Pyromancer, I'm very likely to just go Bloodbraid into Bloodbraid. So I'll probably just want to resolve a Scavenging Ooze. So I'll attack for 1, and then if they block, then they've got the Soul Reed, obviously. But I mean, if they don't block, free damage. Yeah, they're not blocking ever. Alright, so then we can... I'll probably just get the fetch out of the way. There's nothing super meaningful that we want to hit quite yet. And then the Bloodstained Mire is pretty likely to get Blood Crypt on account of winning second black and also second red. But yeah, this hand's probably pretty good versus whatever it is the opponent is doing. Alright, so the opponent shocking, that means they've got to have a Path to Exile here. Like, we have to imagine that one of their lands is going to be... Two of their mana is going to be used towards putting a Batterskull into play. So the shock probably indicates a 1-mana spell at instant speed, which is only Path. They could be trying to also represent like a Spell Queller here, which isn't impossible. But, I mean, whatever we do, it's definitely starting with Bloodbraid. Inquisition's a pretty okay hit here. Like, a removal would have been fine. But I mean, past the Batterskull that we expect to get flashed into play, the Stoneforge isn't actually doing that much. Is this the Path to Exile that we had the read on? Like I said, it could be Spell Queller, but if we're Inquisitioning here and the opponent would have to do it in response, otherwise we take it, I would expect the play of Batterskull plus Path to be better. We've got plenty green. Let's get more red. We've got a lot of red spells in hand. Alright, it is Spell Queller. So we're not super worried about Force of Negation. Spell Queller is likely to be pretty annoying. Their Ice Fang Quaddle is pretty far off of having Death Touch. They need to play their Windswept Teeth and then another way to find a basic. I mean, that's not super far off. Ice Fang is the immediate 2-for-1, but Spell Queller definitely has the potential of being more annoying. I'll take the Queller. Get my Blood Braid, and then I think I'd rather just, even though I can't attack past the Batterskull would be able to attack freely right back at me. So I don't really see a point in attacking, especially when the Tarmogoyf can make sure that their Batterskull can't even attack unless they like re-equip it to something. But yeah, this game's going okay. Our hand is pretty impressive. Obviously, the opponent has a few draws that could be pretty problematic. That one's really good for them because that's going to shut off the Cascade on the Bloodbraid Elf. So yeah, the Teferi Time Raveler might actually be the opponent's best draw here. It's very annoying. Alright, so I think I'm going to lead on a Seasoned Pyromancer here, and then I'll discard the 2 lands. If I find something that has me wanting to deal with any of my opponent's permanents, I can then do that instead of playing Tarmogoyf. I'm pretty likely to just want to play the Tarmogoyf, though. I'd be discarding 2 pretty good lands, but I'm definitely not going to be discarding Bloodbraid, and I want to start being able to threaten this Planeswalker here. So, I'll lead on Pyromancer and just discard the lands. Alright, Renin 6 is pretty nice. But given the opponent's got a powerful Planeswalker in play, I'm incentivized to go towards the Tarmogoyf, especially when the opponent's got a force that we know about. I don't want to commit mana towards a play that the opponent can answer with 0 mana. Especially when I need to be establishing a board presence versus my opponent's threat. So I'll play my Peatland, and then I'll just cast Tarmogoyf. And then say go. Yeah, and the opponent not fetching here to get a Painless Shock may indicate that they're working towards their Ice Fang, but that's pretty obvious. They'd want to do that regardless. Feast and Famine, huh? The opponent's drawn pretty well. Granted, most of the cards in their deck are good versus us. Gonna need to find a removal spell here. But I need to answer the Teferi even before then, because if they go to equip a sword, I can't even respond to an equip because of this Teferi. Luckily, the Seasoned Pyromancer means that I can block at least once, unless they put it on the Ice Fang, which they're likely to do. So if I activate Raging Ravine, I could send everybody at Teferi. They could flash in the Ice Fang Quaddle, but then if they're saving the Teferi, 3 of their creatures are dying and they're left with just a Batterskull. I honestly think that might be the play that I'm forced to make. Like, I could go Renin 6, buy back a land, and then make that play, but if they force of negation the Renin 6, then I can't activate the Ravine, and I fall further behind to the Teferi. So I think I am going to make that play of activate the Ravine, throw everybody at Teferi. It'll be unfortunate when the Teferi gets to live, but that would mean that ideally the opponent isn't equipping a Sword of Feast and Famine to an attacking creature. And again, I really don't want to risk the opponent just casting the force that we know about. That would mean they probably pitch Ice Fang, but if they have any other blue card, it becomes very disastrous. This is not the spot I want to be in, but that was the power of the opponent drawing the Teferi there. And I'm aware that Batterskull is going to get to eat something. Not happy about that either, but the Teferi is just ridiculously annoying. And I need to start clearing their board. Like, they could very easily just let this thing die and then just, like, have all their stuff moving forward, which is going to be difficult to beat anyway. But I don't think I can get much farther ahead while this Teferi lives. If I were the opponent, I would just let the Teferi die and then just put your sword in and then hit me. Obviously, they could block something and then do that play. But yeah, I think they should just block something with Batterskull and move on. Alright, well, we got the Teferi dead, but we're going to get hit with a sword now. If they, for some reason, don't put the sword onto the Ice Fang Quaddle, I can use the Renin 6 to kill it. Pretty unlikely to work, though, given this force. Really need to find the Kolaghan's command. Again, the opponent's got Force of Negation, but maybe we can bait it with the Renin 6. Well, the Germans got protection from black. Alright, let's see if we can get this thing in. If I were the opponent, I would just let this resolve. This Renin's, like, even if it resolves and I kill a thing, it just straight doesn't matter. Alright, so if they've got another blue card, it's going to be unfortunate. I could sacrifice Peatland and just go for the push on the Spell Queller, but then I'm still falling farther behind to the Germ token. I think I'm almost forced to just cast the Bloodbraid Elf, going down to 5, and then trying to hit like a Kolaghan's command or something. Is that even good enough if I do that? The opponent would just attack with a Spell Queller in the air, hitting me for 3 because it exalts. That would put me down to 2. Can I come back from that? Doesn't look great, but I probably could. Alright, let's jam. And then, this has got to hit something really good like a Kolaghan's command. If it doesn't, I can pretty safely just scoop. Alright, there we go. Alright, Bant. Bant is going to be a really rough one. I probably want the bolts here. The opponent is playing Spell Queller. Ashiok doesn't look great, nor does Spell Bomb. Brutality could be fine as just another removal spell. As far as Duress is concerned, it's only ever going to take a path. Not sure that that's good enough. Although the hand disruption does look pretty weak. I don't think the opponent is playing Collected Company. So, I mean, in the event that they are, I definitely want to keep the Thought Seizes over Inquisitions. I mean, all of these other cards seem like they should be pretty okay versus the opponent. I just really don't think Brutality is where I want to be. Sounds excellent. They've also kindly mulliganed. Force this, you know you want to. I would be really happy if the opponent forced this. Oh, yeah. Yes, please. They even pitched an Ice Fang to do it. Well, I'm definitely going to Thought Seize them again coming up. There's an argument to play in Kroxa because it's the more mana-efficient play, especially into a Liliana. But if they've got a Stoneforge here, I really want to take it. I've got the Bolt to deal with the Stoneforge, but I'd rather have the Bolt for a later threat. I guess they were just defending their Teferi. Don't really care about the path, and this Ice Fang isn't going to be super impactful. I'll just take the Teferi. It's definitely the most annoying thing. And then I'll play the Blood Crypt tapped. I could play the Blacklave Cliffs just to have the Bolt available, because like if they Stoneforge, maybe I want to Bolt it. But if they play a Stoneforge, I can just Liliana Edict it. Which also seems good for me. Yeah, I like how this game is going so far. I'm going to make sure to wait until the Path to Exile is no longer in the opponent's hands before escaping a Kroxa. Then the opponent could have stuff like Celestial Purge as a way to answer Liliana of the Veil. So it's curious what I want to discard here. I may want to be casting Kroxa next turn, just so the opponent discards another card. I'll just ditch the second copy of Liliana of the Veil, I think. Like, the opponent is probably going to attack the Liliana for 1 here, unless, unfortunately, they have, like, a Noble Hierarch. But then I can bolt the Ice Fang and continue plussing with Liliana. I think I really want this Kroxa to discard a card from the opponent's hand. And then, like, if they Spell Queller the Kroxa, I can then just bolt the Spell Queller. So discarding Liliana seems fine here. But yeah, this spot isn't horrendous. We need another land, a non-basic forest land, to be able to get this Kroxa cast. So I think just about every land in our deck, other than the basic forest, will have us casting it. Sophie, huh? Alright, well that's unlikely to have a creature to wield it. Alright, and that'll help us escape the Kroxa. We're still short on cards to actually do the escaping. We know the opponent's last card is Path. I think I'm just gonna empty my hand here and then continue plussing the Liliana to have it be as asymmetrical as possible. I could plus this Liliana first, such that the Kroxa actually does 3 to my opponent, but that means I can't play the land because I'd have to discard it. So I think what's gonna happen here is I'll Lightning Bolt the Ice Fang plus the Liliana, play Kroxa, or plussing Liliana last. I'll bolt this, play all of my cards. The opponent will discard their path here. And then we can continue plussing. Alright, and I like this spot. The worst thing that the opponent can do now is have a flash creature to like put in end step and then equip the sword to. I mean, they've got Spell Queller and Ice Fang as ways to do that. I'm not even gonna plus the Liliana. This Bloodbraid's gonna be too good, hopefully. No Ice Fang, please. You've used one already. There's definitely an argument to just plussing the Liliana anyway, because then any card, if I don't like it, I can plus it, and then I can that could be used as the 5th card to escape the Croxa. I mean, Seasoned Pyromancer is a good hit though. I think I'm pretty likely to want to keep all the cards in my hand, so I'll probably just plus first, and then play the Pyromancer. It obviously looks worse now. That I wished I just discarded the Bloodbraid last turn. Please no Spell Queller. And they discarded a sword, so they've got to have something good. To leak, that's fine. Alright, well, we're escaping Croxa next turn. Alright, the opponent drawing a land here is quite good for us. Alright, and they agree. Still didn't see any collected companies, so it's possible that Inquisition is just better than Thoughtseize. Do I want to take that gamble? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure the opponent has is a very good collected company deck, so I'll keep the potential of taking one. Along those lines, should I be playing Brutality just as a removal spell that can also take a Coco? Is it better than anything? I'm not sure that it is. I mean, it might be better than like a 1-for-1 in Dreadbore. But Dreadbore is nice for answering the various Planeswalker threats. Honestly, Scavenging Ooze is pretty underwhelming. It can grow pretty nicely though. It's pretty close. I just don't think that the Brutality is going to be better than anything else that we've got going on. Maybe I even cut a land because I expect the game to go long, but that seems ambitious. So if the opponent plays a 1-mana Doric, I'll probably just push it. That might not even be true. Because I don't have a whole lot of removal in this hand. I probably want to save the removal spells for the higher impact stuff. I am just going to go ahead and push this now. Like, all of the stuff I'm pretty concerned about with the Inquisition cost 3 mana anyway. Which means that next turn is also a fine Inquisition turn. I'm definitely not going to play Terminwave on 2 because then the opponent playing a Teferi is a pretty big blowout. Batterskull's annoying. So we've got the trophy for the Batterskull. It's not the way I want to do it, but it's a way to do it. And the opponent is pretty likely to use their next turn's mana to put Batterskull into play, but like I mentioned, if the opponent has a Teferi, it's such a disaster for us. I'm not going to play the role of the aggro deck by playing a threat. I'm just going to keep on advancing the board. Whoa, the opponent's got a Geist of Saint Traft. Gonna take that. Especially since the opponent has ways to insulate versus a Liliana being good. The opponent not drawing a land is nice for me. That's at least a nice tempo advantage. Dark Confidant is an interesting one here. I'm almost inclined to just deploy that. I could play Tarmogoyf just because it outsizes the Batterskull that we're assuming is getting shot into play. And the opponent has another Stoneforge, so it's pretty likely that I need to save this trophy to answer something like a Sword of Feast and Famine. So I think I'm definitely not planning on trophying here, especially when the opponent is short on lands. So I think the real question here is, do I want to play a 4/5 to brick the Batter Skull? Or do I want to get my resource engine down in Dark Confidant? Generally, in a resource game like this, I'm pretty sure I should just be playing the Dark Confidant, and then next turn, if the opponent goes like Stoneforge and then have a Sword and Feast and Famine, I could then have played my Tarmogoyf and then hold up the Assassin's Trophy on top of that. So I think I'll play the Bob, accept a hit for probably 4. And then just play a Goyf and hold up trophy next turn. And then as far as what this Bloodstained Mire is getting, it's looking like Stomping Ground. Definitely want second red. Take my lick. The opponent didn't do anything. That's pretty curious, especially because we know their hand is all spells they can cast. That could mean Spell Queller is the one card I don't know about. This Bob's going to go to work, though. We revealed Verdant. Interesting. I think I'll just play the card that the opponent knows about. And this is pretty likely to just get a basic Swamp, which means I'm going to want green available for instant speed casting the trophy. I could just get the Swamp now. I'm pretty likely to want to fetch anyway, given the opponent's going to Ashiok. The question is, though, is if my opponent Spell Quellers the Tarmogoyf, do I want to have to use my trophy on it? I kind of have to, because then I'm going to keep getting smacked by this germ, and I can't leverage the Dark Confidant very well. And I'm going to have to find an alternative answer to the potential Sword of Feast and Famine. I guess while I have this Verdant, I could be feigning Fatal Push. So I guess I will leave up Overgrown Tomb. And cast the Tarmogoyf this way. So the one card I don't know about, my read is Spell Queller. That would have this play making sense. This isn't the Stoneforge that I know about, is it? I'm pretty sure there were 2. Alright, and it is a Spell Queller. So now, like I mentioned, I have to make the rough call of, do I just let this stand, or do I go for the trophy on the Spell Queller? If the opponent is able to get their sword into play and then attach it to the germ, that could be really problematic. I mean, they can't do it next turn, though, because they would have to spend the turn searching for it. And I really want to leverage this Bob, which means the Spell Queller is going to have to die. Giving the opponent a land here is really going to hurt. One of the reasons I dislike Dreadbore, as I mentioned, like before turn like 4 or 5, trophy has a very significant drawback, and here on turn 4 it feels really bad, especially since the opponent is behind on mana, having missed a land drop. So can the opponent do a tricky thing with the Ashiok, shrinking the Goyf? Looks like they can. They've got creature land, just creature and land. I've got instant sorcery. If they're gonna let me trade for the germ token, I'll trade. Milling themselves? Oh, they're targeting me, sure. I hit a Liliana and a Kolagon's command. That's unfortunate. Do I double block? That doesn't seem good. I'll go to 10. I mean, I've still got some very live hits. Other copy of Kolagon's cannon would be pretty insane. Alright, so I did track that well, okay. Alright, so their last card is Bird and Sword. Bloodbraid. Wish I'd revealed it in the other order, obviously, but I mean, Bloodbraid's a solid hit. I almost have to just play the Pyromancer here, though, because Seasoned Pyromancer can block whatever gets equipped with the sword. And then I guess I'll ditch a Forest and a Blackleaf Cliffs, because if I don't find something I can play, I can at least sack the Peatland. I mean, I can cast another 2/3. It's not super impressive though. That has me going even lower with the Bob in play. I mean, I'm pretty likely to just block with the Bob here, assuming they don't put a sword on something. It's pretty rough. I'm gonna do it. Maybe taking this Geist wasn't even correct. Because like Geist does just get blocked, assuming they can't get enough stuff out of the way. Sure. 4 lands off of the top. Thank you. Alright, so we're going to need to find the Kolagon's command here. And we need the Bob to be nice. Renin 6, not exactly. So I can exile the Seasoned Pyromancer from the yard, which enables more ways to block, but then this Bob is gonna have to be exceedingly kind. And I guess I'll play the Verdant. What basics has the opponent exiled? Just the Forest. We've got Swamp in play, so I guess I'll have to get Swamp going down to 2. Do I have an attack at least? I mean, I guess this Bob isn't blocking. I mean, it'll block literally whatever they'll let me block. I could also Renin 6 and minus on the Dark Confidant, but that has me still dying to sort of Feast and Famine. The other option is I can Hail Mary it and then go for the Bloodbraid. The issue is if that doesn't hit exactly Kolagon's command, I'm just dead on the spot. I mean, honestly, that might just be where we're at. Even if I hit the Kolagon's command to kill the Batter Skull, or sorry, to kill the Sword of Feast and Famine, I still have the Batter Skull to face. Like, we will have added instant and artifact, which means our glyphs will be 4/5s. James is also correct. We can't actually fetch with the Ashiok in play. So yeah, I mean, I think we have to Hail Mary this Bloodbraid. Because like I mentioned, we can season Pyromancer, but we're not actually pulling ahead by just blocking a bunch. All right, Kolaghan's command, please. They already exiled one. There's no way they sacrifice this Germ, and then even if they did, they just equip this other stuff. GG. Yeah, I think that matchup's probably fine-ish, but on the rougher side of fine. Yeah, I think that match really came down to on the turn where I cast the Tarmogoyf, we really needed the opponent to not have drawn exactly Spell Queller, and that's exactly what they had. Like, we knew their hand was Bird, Stoneforge, and Ashiok. Burning Inquiry. Alright, well, my hand got better. Opponent bins 2 Arclight Phoenixes. That's scary. Hopefully we can disrupt whatever the opponent has got going with this Inquisition. The opponent must have seen us hit 3 lands and just like really hoped that they'd hit all of our lands. So I think I'm going to take the Lava Dart here. I really don't want the opponent to have a lot of spells to get their Arclight Phoenix back. Like, the opponent could just go play their lands, cast the Merchant of the Veil, and then Lava Dart. It's definitely not Steamkin. The issue is, like, Lava Dart, it represents 2 spells. Like, they'll still have the back half of it, but at least that has them discarding a card. Or, sorry, sacrificing a land. I mean, Merchant is like the pseudo redraw that also makes other Arclight Phoenixes better. I'll take the Merchant. Definitely have to take one of the 2 spells there, I think. Alright, the opponent has played Steamkin. That can be Dreadboard. Gonna have to shock to do it. Alright, well, remember, we don't have basic Swamp in the deck. They're both in the graveyard. So I guess if I'm gonna have to, if I'm Dreadboarding now, I'm probably just gonna get Stomping Ground now. I could get Overgrown Tomb, and the next turn I can play Goyf and have Ravine, and then my mana is almost perfect. Like, I could shock a Blood Crypt now, but then I have to fetch Basic Force next turn to play Goyf, and I really don't want to do that. So I'll get Overgrown Tomb now and Dreadbore. I could even conceivably just cast Goyf here. I need to dodge spells. That's not a spell. Alright, so I definitely think I actually want to be casting Thoughtseize here. The way I lose this game is probably the opponent getting back their Arclight Phoenixes. And I want to take away a spell such that the opponent doesn't have a bunch of spells to cast on their turn. Alright, so now the opponent has only a Hollow one. I could Thoughtseize it, but I think I want to get a Tarmogoyf down. The opponent's pretty likely to just cycle it. Yeah, the Decay seems like a fine choice, James, if that's what you expect to see. Flame Blade, potentially scary, but not quite yet. Untapped land would be nice. Fatal Push also quite good. We're not going to have Revolt to kill the Phoenixes, so let's just get this thing out of the way. Alright, all things considered, this is going pretty well. The fail rate now is the opponent hits a cantripping spell like Manamorphose and then has that hit another spell, because remember, the opponent already has a Lava Dart. So as long as they can draw 2 spells off of the top, we could be in trouble. Alright, but drawing a land is quite good for us. Trophy is fine. It can knock a Phoenix out of the sky. We need another threat here so we can close. I'll put that in my graveyard. Not a good hit, clearly. But we've got a 2-turn clock, including this turn. So even if the opponent can somehow put Phoenixes into play, they may be on blocking duty. There's the Manamorphose. I mean, the opponent did blank twice, going into their hopeful top deck, so we're on the luckier side. You're gonna cast a hollow one. We can trophy it. Cycle. I guess they're going for the Arclight Phoenixes. Haggle. That works. Because now they get to Lava Dart, get back 2 Phoenixes, but they are on blocking duty. Oh, okay, we get to just kill him now. Alright, so Croaks is basically a lightning bolt at this point. Alright, so mono red Phoenix. Looks like a Leyline of the Void matchup. I'm going to bring in the Spell Bomb. It's not likely to be super high impact if I've already got a Leyline. I mean, I can still target the opponent and cycle it, though. Brutality is going to be good. Lightning Bolt's going to be good. Ashiok might be on the slow side. Let's definitely take out Dark Confidant. I don't like the red and 6s here. It's not going to kill a whole lot of anything. I'm going to cut 1 top end card, I think. Seasoned Pyromancer looks to be really, really slow. Like, it might be good for blocking the 1-mana Menace creature. We've got lots of removal for it. I think I should probably... I could shave Thoughtseizes. But I like the opponent not being able to get their Phoenixes back. But, I mean, losing life feels really awkward. And I've also got lots of good graveyard hate. So that's 60. The question is now, do I want to make room for Ashioks? Is it better than anything else? It might be better than Kolaghan's Command. Kolaghan's Command can kill a creature at 3 mana. It could also kill Hollow One. So for that reason, I should probably keep it. Because remember, Hollow One is an artifact. I think I like this configuration. Like, Ashiok's only going to be good for getting rid of Phoenixes. The opponent doesn't have a whole lot of other search effects. The Ashiok just doesn't seem strong enough. Well, we don't have a Leyline of the Void, but this hand is quite good. So I guess we'll just hope to not draw one. So I think it's probably more important to cast an Inquisition here. Because if the opponent has one of their draw 3, discard 3 effects, especially the 2-mana copy. It's gonna be pretty important to nab that. Like I don't mind taking a hit a couple times here. Or they don't have it, but they do have an Underworld Breach. Underworld Breach is a pretty cute one with their various draw 3, discard 3s, because you can basically get through your whole deck and combo kill with the Flameblade Adept. I mean, Lightning Bolt is able to kill a Scavenging Ooze. I've got Fatal Push for both of their creatures. So I think I just want to take Breach. Breach is probably the thing that has the highest potential for shenanigans. That said, though, the Breach doesn't actually do anything until at a minimum their 3rd turn. So if I Inquisition again and the plan has changed, then maybe I can just take it then. And then for now, I can take either the Steamkin or the Bolt. I guess I should just take the Bolt here because the other Inquisition is likely to want to take the Underworld Breach, and I'm gonna want to have the two pushes line up with the creatures. So Bolt is the only wild card here. Oh no! +1/+0. We drew a swamp. So the only real way this goes topsy-turvy is if the opponent like has us discard our green source randomly. I think I'm gonna want to be able to play Scavenging Ooze with the green source untapped, but I don't think I'm even playing a Scavenging Ooze that even next turn because I think I'm gonna want to cast all of my 1-mana spells sooner rather than later. Let's just lead on Inquisition, see what the new pickup is, and then I'll probably end up pushing the Steamkin. And they drew the Goblin Lore. Alright, well, Goblin Lore could enable the Hollow One, which is really dangerous. Kind of have to take that. Leaving them with their Breach makes me nervous, but the Breach doesn't actually do a whole lot as long as I can keep the board empty, which I can. That might not even be true, because like they can just bin their Phoenixes. But I mean, Goblin Lore is probably the scariest card. That's fine. I'm gonna wait till the opponent makes all their decisions before Fatal Pushing. Probably the Steamkin. If I know that they're not going off, which looks like they aren't, I might just Fatal Push the Flameblade Adept. Yeah, this Steamkin isn't doing a whole lot of heavy hitting right now. I'll just go ahead and push the thing that's doing more damage. Like they could bolt me and then they do the same amount. That seems fine. Definitely planning on bolting their runaway Steamkin here. All right, and second Ooze is nice. That further inclines me to just play one now. I guess I'll want to reserve the ability to fetch for a green source untapped, so I'll play the Bloodstained Mire and fetch Shock a Stomping Ground now. And then I don't actually have to fire off the Fatal Push quite yet. I can let them make decisions before I do that. Goblin Lore. Think I'm just gonna let that resolve. The only way this bites me, I think, is if they go like land, cast Lava Dart, escape Lava Dart, because then they can make more red mana. Okay, they discarded the Hollow One. They did not discard the Underworld Breach, though. Alright, and then with that, I think we're in the lead. Bolt is a nice pickup. I think I want to just be able to have up 2 green sources instead of playing another bear. Do I want to eat something now just to gain some life and hit for more? Probably. Although if the plan is to do it just because I get to hit for more, maybe I should just be playing my other grizzly bear at that point. If I fetch Basic Forest, that takes away my ability to escape Kroxa. But given the cards that I have in hand, and thus the ones that I know about, I think getting Basic Forest is probably more advantageous than just guessing that I'm going to draw Kroxa. I mean, this Underworld Breach really makes me want to have lots of green available. Let's just have lots of green available, and then I'll eat as much as I can at the opponent's end step. Because, like, the way that I'm losing this game now is Underworld Breach shenanigans. Goblin Lore. Can't do much about that. Discarded a Phoenix. Still have that Underworld Breach. So I'm likely to eat a Phoenix here. Lightning Axe, discarding a Breach. Alright, well, definitely eating a Phoenix. Alright, I might as well get another card out of the opponent's yard here. Is 2 life in a shock worth the potential of escaping a Kroxa? If the opponent kills me, it's likely to be by a lot. It might just be worth it to pay the 2 life. What am I even eating here? Eating the creatures doesn't matter a whole lot. It's more just the spells like Goblin Lore that matter in terms of the combo. They don't have any of those in the yard. In any of the 1 mana version at least. I'll get the forest. Just gain a life here, I guess. I'll keep the artifact creature. Because if I draw Goyf, it'll be bigger. Interesting that they discarded Underworld Breach. That could just mean they've got another one. Watch, this is when I draw the Kroxa and feel stupid. Honestly, I'm just going to play that. That'll prevent me from dying to a combo. Because any future Goblin Lores will just have the discarded cards going to exile. Same with the Arclight Phoenixes. Like, if they, like, hard cast Phoenix now, I've got the Bolt for it. Alright, they're breaching. Got a 4/4. Alright, well, the opponent pretty kindly did not exile all of their creatures, which means our ooze is going to get to grow pretty sizably. And then I think I'm just going to do this now to avoid the opponent being able to lightning bolt the ooze. Still dies to Lightning Axe, but that's always going to happen. It's a good sign. If they attack, I'll take the hit. I can outgrow it as early as next turn. And they have Lightning Axe. Alright, well, I'll bolt this. Alright. I have 3 turns to find an answer to a hollow one. I have many answers. I've got Liliana, I've got Kolaghan's Command, I've got a Glyph I can just outsize it. And then sacrificing this fetch doesn't change the opponent's clock at all. Not even in terms of bolt. Like, I'm going to 7 here, an additional hit has me going to 3. So I don't really think there's a difference between 3 and 2. I'll just take a land out of the deck. Both of my oozes are gone. There's no real reason to get more green. So best case would be Kolaghan's Command. There's a Liliana. That one will do. So obviously plussing here. I'm kidding. Minus. Alright, so now a way that we lose is they could still hardcast more hollow ones. The opponent could also hardcast the Arclight Phoenix, which does have us dead in 2 turns, which would have been a reason to not fetch in that case. Alright, well, at least Lavadar only has 1/2. Gonna need to find something. Kolaghan's Command still best case. Bloodbraid, not too shabby. Reveals a Fatal Push, of course. Had a lot of good hits there. Push was not one of them. Sure. That's a good one. As long as I keep on drawing them, I'll keep on casting them. Let's just gain the life here. There's no guarantee that this even hits something. Let's just gain the life. This also puts us firmly into the camp of winning a race. Even if they cast like a hollow one here, we can still just attack through it for lethal. The opponent's gonna have to do something pretty spectacular here. Cool. So the ley line was good because we cast it on turn 5 or 6 or whatever it was. I mean, given that ley line did save us there, it's conceivable that the opponent wins with that Underworld Breach if we don't have the ley line. I've got a mulligan this hand. We just our mana is not set up to go very well. Like, if we had a fetch, then this hand would be excellent. But like, we can't even play Renin 6 on 2 with how our hand is set up right now. And especially versus Lurrus, we're likely to be playing against something like Shadow, and we just don't have an answer to a Shadow either. So I think this is a clear mulligan. This is a less clear mulligan. We are going second, right? No, we're going first. Yikes. If we're going second, this would be more defensible, but we're just really we need lands for this hand to work. We've got things to do on one, but I don't think it's enough things to do on one. I mean, as far as fives go, this is it. And then we could put back Blood Crypt for sure. And I don't want to put back Bloodbraid, but if we put back a land, this Bloodbraid's pretty far away. I think I'm just going to keep the 3 lands and the 2 spells that I know I can cast. And then in the event they've got like a haste creature that I want to push, I'll Blackleaf Cliffs first. The Thing. Interesting that they didn't shock though. That could indicate they're just regular burn. Because if they're playing Shadow, they're pretty likely to be shocking. In case they're playing something like Scourge of the Skyclaves, I should try to keep my life total relatively high, but that's the case generally anyway, right? Bloodbraid's a pretty nice draw, assuming we get to our lands eventually. Forked Bolt. This is probably some kind of Dreadhorde Arcanist brew. Given the presence of Forked. Well, I mean, I guess it could still be Burn, but Forked Bolt's not super common. Rift Bolt? Okay, yeah, probably Burn then. They can't be playing the Chandra's Incinerator version because they've got Luris as a companion. Not bad. So I think I'll net save more life by just getting this 2-min now. And then I'm definitely going to want to fetch basic Swamp because Forest won't aid in escaping a Kroxa. I got tabs all over the place. Jeez, sorry. I mean, I've managed pretty well for a 5-card hand. Skewer. No skewer? Okay. Liliana's not bad, but I'm not going to not just cast a Bloodbraid here. And again, I'm going to get Swamp because Forest doesn't help me escape a Kroxa. So the ideal hit here would be Tarmogoyf, I believe. Because I just need more pressure. What did we hit? We hit push again. Not what we want to see. I could hold back the Bloodbraid to defend versus haste creatures, but I think I need to start closing. Like if they had haste creatures, they would have played them, so they must draw them off of the top for the attack to bite me. And they've got to have spells too, because they sure as heck don't have lands. Right, and Rift Bolt is one that I'm happy that they have. If it's not a burn spell, I'm happy it's that. I think I'm gonna actually discard the land purposefully because that'll help me escape the Kroxa. I'll attack first. Maybe they kill the Bloodbraid for some reason. Doubt they would. Alright, and then I will cast Liliana. And then purposefully discard this mountain. Because again, I want to escape the Kroxa eventually. Got another burn spell. Shard Volley. Okay. Alright, well, their 2-mana spells are cut off at least. That's some silver lining. They do have a lot of draws that just kill me, obviously. That's not one of them. We get to Edict that. Our fetches are now turned off. That's definitely not getting cast. So I could hold back the Bloodbraid to defend versus the haste creatures. But I mean every turn that I'm not getting them dead is just turns that they have to draw more burn. So I think an attack is probably correct. Then obviously not casting Thoughtseize. Had it been an Inquisition, I'd cast it just to get it into the yard. It's like even then, like as early as next turn, we could have been escaping Kroxa. Because like next turn, we could just auto discard whatever we draw. But I obviously need to kill the Swiftspear here. That doesn't do it. If we had one more life, we could be escaping Kroxa right now. Again, I'm not going to not attack. The opponent had a skewer. Is it worth it to not attack now just because next turn we can escape Kroxa? Because like if we get Kroxa into play, the opponent is going to go down to 4 and they're dead on the following attack. So it actually changes our clock. Our clock is the same, but there are fewer things that we can die to if we just stay back. So I think this turn the no attack is different. What's up, Kampachi? We actually aren't playing Bolt in the main deck, so that's not something we can draw. Flame Javelin. What in the world? I'm going to have to read what that one does. 4 damage to any target. That's it? It's just another 4 damage spell? Oh, you're cheering for burn. Oh, I see. That's rude. You come to my stream and you cheer for the opponent? I see how it is. Alright, well, the opponent has already cast 3 lightning bolts, so you're cheering for a 1-outer. You're better off cheering for a lava spike. Alright, so we don't die to creatures, we don't die to anything that costs more than 1 mana. Alright, we win. You would cheer for goblins if I were playing that? Oh, sorry. I'm not a goblin streamer. Although they could be Jund colors, then maybe. Alright, taking game 1 versus Burn is always a feel-good. Alright, so since Kampachi's a Lightning Bolt fan, what am I going to do with you, Jer? Shatter King Brothers? Alright, I think these 4 are probably good. Let's take out the Bobs and we'll take out the Thoughtseizes. Easy 2 in, 2 out. I'm not super stoked to have Renin 6 in the deck, but I mean, it's probably better than other stuff that I've got going on. I mean, I could even just play Cleansing Wildfire over it, because the opponent is a 2-color deck with presumably only 1 color of basic. Maybe I can take him off of a color. You building John DDH? You had me in, you had me proud of you until I read the EDH part. I almost do want to just play these Cleansing Wildfires over the Renin 6. Renin 6 really isn't going to do a whole lot. Like the games that the Renin 6 likes to promote are the ones that go long and involve me sacrificing multiple fetch lands. Like it could be good if I'm like cycling a Nurturing Peatland. Well, let's keep one. I'm not really happy about either of them. Uh-oh, what are you sending me a picture of, Jer? Oh, that new thing. That thing is weird. Mana burn is back on the menu, right? This is a hand. Let's, I guess, ditch second copy of Kroxa. Guide. Can you give me a land? No, we've got a Fatal Push on top. That's a good one. I'll let my opponent trigger off before I cast the push. Maybe I get a free card. Got another creature. Got a spike. Alright, well, I'm obviously going to let my opponent attack before killing the guide. It might actually be better just to kill the Swift Spear here. Because I'm Fatal Pushing the next thing no matter what anyway. And then I guess if their guide is something that's attacking, then that might just be another free card that I get. So it's probably just better to push the Swift Spear. Land, please. Another Fatal Push. Demonstrate a loop. Play our Bloodstained Mire because it's kind of like a pseudo scry here. Pretty unlikely to want to fetch for a swamp, but I mean it could happen. I don't think the opponent has more creatures here because they probably would have played Forked Bolt, sure. Skewer, yikes. I mean we're at a virtual 7 now. We got another burn spell. Uh-oh. Wow, okay. Alright, so let's do our little scry hack here. Brutality on top. Let's keep that one. So I think I actually want to cast Kroxa here. I definitely don't want to go down to 3. So I guess I'm gonna fetch for Mountain. The issue is then, like, if I want to ever make green mana, I have to pay life for it. I mean, I can't die short of a Bituminous Blast right now, like the Miracle thing. So I think I'm alright just sitting back. And then I can, on my opponent's end step, fetch for green source. If they cast like a haste creature here, I'll just push it. Did they draw the deal for? Oh, they got Luris, duh. Well, I mean, we've got Kroxa. We can have them just discard the Luris. Probably what we should do. I mean, we're dead to a deal 4, but that's it. And then next turn we can Brutality and get out of range. I mean, the opponent is playing multiple copies of Forked Bolt. I mean, if that was any other deal 3 as opposed to a deal 2. Eidolon? Alright, well, we've got to push that one. I think I'm just going to untap, though. And do it, because, like, I would have to go to 1 if I do it this way. That doesn't seem great. So yeah, I mean, I could Liliana here, but I think I want to just escalate a collective brutality because that'll keep me at 4. If I just go Liliana minus here, any of their burn spells kill me. But if I brutality and also drain them, I stay at 4. So we'll 2-mode it. Target creature gets -2/-2, drain, cast. You and you. Do I just discard the... I discard second Liliana. That's pretty easy. So I'll take 2, gain 2. And then I guess have up a push. And then if I'm feeling frisky, next turn I can go down to 3 in order to escape a Kroxa. I don't really think that's where I want to be, though. I'm really hoping now that the opponent draws either a land or a creature that I can push. Eidolon would be a creature I don't want them to have, just because then I'm still taking damage. Alright, do I want to get frisky? I could just Liliana plus. The issue is the more turns I go on this game without just killing the opponent, that's just like more cards that they get to draw and kill me with. So while Liliana plussing is the don't die this turn play, I don't think it's the highest percentage to actually win the game overall. So I'm just gonna hope that their last card isn't an instant speed deal 3. And if it is, then you got me. Boo. Skull crack, that'll do it. Yeah, he's like, if I go Liliana plus, they just skull crack me anyway, and I'm still at 1. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna run it back. Crack-a-lacka, that's true. We get to be on the play now. I mean, our hand was pretty good, but they had a triple creature draw. That was hard to come out from under. So, Jer, are you gonna stay up late to watch The Mandalorian tonight? It comes out at midnight if you're in California. Yeah, I mean, if you're on East Coast, it's a crisp 3 a.m. Oh, okay. Yeah, last week's was good. I mean, that show's pretty good at setting up cliffhangers, and there was a good one last episode. No spoilers, obviously, but it's definitely a spoiler that I want to be able to talk about. So you should definitely watch the episode. Going first seems good. Let's see that 3 lands brutality hand. Well, it's got 3 lands in brutality. I mean, turn 2 brutality into turn 3 Liliana is steps 1 and 2. I just need to find some closing pressure, basically. Give me a land. Free card. No, Inquisition? I mean, Inquisition will be fine, but I definitely want to kill this, this Goblin Guide here. Let's 3-mode it. You. I'm going to discard the Blood Crypt because I want all my lands to come in untapped. And then I think I'm going to want to keep the Mountain because that'll help me cast Seasoned Pyromancer. I've already got lots of black. They've got Rest in Peace and an Eidolon. Well, I'm not taking Forked Bolt. That does 2. Rift Bolt is Rift Bolt can target, whereas Lava Spike can't. Rift Bolt they've got to put on Suspend. It's definitely one of the 3 damage spells. I suppose that Lava Spike is worse for me if the opponent draws a Swift Spear and they, for whatever reason, want to do that. Or Lava Spike is worse for me because they can go like Swift Spear, Lava Spike immediately. So I'll take the Spike, I guess. And this Rest in Peace is probably going to be annoying. It'll turn off Kroxa as a way to win, and it'll turn off Gwaif as a way to win. That's 5 of my threats. They're not casting it, though. I'm definitely going to Liliana Edict this. And then if for whatever reason they don't Rest in Peace me here, then maybe I Inquisition it. But it's probably just more important to get this Eidolon dead. Like, they can Fork Bolt Liliana, 1 at me, 1 at Liliana. But, I mean, I like Edicting here. Especially because if they're going to kill the Liliana, that means that they might not be playing Rest in Peace. What's up, Setherus? Alright, they are doing that. Sure. And Rift Bolt. So best draw now is probably Tarmogoyf because, hey, there it is. Because this Inquisition means that the Tarmogoyf is likely to be able to stay big. Yep, I'll take the Rest in Peace. Leave you with 2 burn spells that don't kill Tarmogoyf. Now, they can combo some burn spells to kill the Goyf, but if they're throwing 6 points of damage at the Goyf, that's just 6 points of life that I've gained, which also feels pretty good. Skewer me. Yep. I mean, Goyf is going to hit pretty hard. I mean, that's something to do, at least. I don't play Feed the Clan. That is correct. I do not play Feed the Clan. Alright, there's a chance that the opponent can discard something that grows the Tarmogoyf. Odds are low, but I mean, a Kroxa is a Kroxa. It's going to get a spell out of the opponent's hand, which is nice. Bolt me, sure. You'll discard a Forked Bolt. And then smack you for 5. There's an argument to holding the Goyf back, just so the opponent's haste creatures don't convert to damage. But I mean, again, the more turns I'm not closing, the more turns that the opponent has the chance to draw burn spells that could close against me. Now they've got Luris. Yep, makes sense. They've got guide in their yard as well, so if they draw a land, they can lure a sand guide me. Or, and hear me out, we just escape a Croxa. I'll attack first to keep Goyf big. Small chance we Bloodbraid and just kill the opponent. But I'd rather just definitely win. Definitely winning is better than probably winning. I don't think there's a single card that the opponent could have to knock me from 6. The opponent not playing that Rest in Peace really ended up hurting them. I mean, they had pretty good plays to do instead of Rest in Peace. But they just never had adequate time. And before I misclick. Alright, let's cast Bloodbraid because it's cool. Cast Scavenging Ooze because it's cool. Yeah, I mean, I could misclick, right? There are outs. Or not, I guess. Got a pretty decent crowd here tonight. That's good. Usually I get these numbers towards the end of the stream as opposed to in the middle. So it's looking a lot like a rock hand. But I mean, if I mulligan this hand and have everything but Renin 6, this hand is fine. So this hand's only better with an extra card. Swamp Inquisition. Could be Mirror-esque. Could be like an 8-rack deck. They took the Renin 6. Alright, well, I mean, that's the card I couldn't cast. But I mean, it's likely to be good assuming I could get to it. Do I want to just play the Swamp now? Sure. It's kind of free. I've got the untapped land for the Goyf next turn anyway. Do I still have Block Ops 1 somewhere? It's probably in the closet behind me, and I'd have to check. Silent Clearing. Oh, this could be the Orzhov Stoneforge deck that Reed Duke had played for a little bit. Alright, so Goyf does not die to instants and sorceries, to an instant killing it, because, sorry, to a Bolt, because Bolt would add a type, but I don't think they're a Bolt deck. It'll be really unfortunate if the opponent has a Liliana of the Veil, but I don't think I'm going to do nothing. Yeah, the Renin 6 would stop most of their entire deck, that's true. I mean, Inquisition, Fatal Push, Silent Clearing. Probably Rack. I mean, Rack tends to be a pretty good matchup. Given we've got things like Dark Confidant, Renin 6, and then our clocks can hit really hard and quickly because we've got stuff like Goyf and now Croxa. But it's looking like Rack. It took Dreadbore. Does look like an Orzhov deck though. Alright, well there is our red mana. I mean, I guess I should just play that. It gives the opponent information, but I might want to eat something on the way out. So this gives me the option to if I want to get like a Stomping Ground. I mean, I'm not going to not play my thing. It's pretty evident that the opponent does not have a Liliana of the Veil. I mean, I could like wait until I have an Inquisition or Thoughtseize to pair it with. But I don't really like waiting. That's a good sign. Although the opponent taking my Dreadbore has me curious. Like, they don't have any creatures of their own. or a Planeswalker of their own. I'm just pretty confused in general. All right, and I think I'll shock a Stomping Ground here. Like the opponent could be playing like Cling to Dust. Sure, okay. I'll still get Stomping Ground. More red, more green. Like if I draw exactly Liliana of the Veil, maybe I wish that I had gotten a black source just so I can have a lot of black. I mean, having a lot of black isn't the worst. I'll get the Blood Crypt. This makes a Liliana look really smart. Alright, well, I didn't hit Liliana, but I hit the next best thing. Maybe even better than Liliana. Spin the wheel. Nice. Nice. That was really good. You like nuts? I'm going to assume that this is the Orzhov Stoneblade deck. I haven't seen... I mean, I don't really have a reason to believe otherwise at this point. It's the only black-white deck that I know of. Only black-white deck, I mean. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a pretty good one. Alright, let's just lead on an attack. Maybe like kill this for some reason and then I Kolaghan's Command back that instead. Alright, but this looks like a fine opportunity to just recast a Tarmogoyf. Don't think my life total super matters. I would like to get more red because I've only got one. Let's do Stomping Ground. If they've got Cling to Dust, then it looks a little silly that I just shocked. I'll have the opponent discard a card. So yeah, hopefully the opponent doesn't have a Cling to Dust because that makes my shock look silly. But I think I'm still pretty ahead. They might have Kaya's Guile. Yeah, that's fair. Looks like they don't, however. I think there's an H in Guile. I don't actually know. Let's look it up. Kaya's... Nope, no H. Guile. Tripsix got it. Yeah, this looks like the Stoneforge deck. For sure. Alright, well, we've got the Verdant Catacombs in our hand to enable Revolt, which will let us get in for another 3 in addition to netting us a 2/2. Which is pretty nice. Alright, well, you can't break up the whole plan. But yeah, this looks like the Stoneblade deck, which means the opponent still has Stoneforge as a really good draw. Verdant doesn't actually get anything else. we could still fall behind to a Stoneforge, or even if they just draw the Batter Skull. We could still attack with the Bloodbraid and then maybe ping off the Germ, but they just don't block at that point. Yeah, it's still good for retrace. Like, I'm not going to not buy it back. I don't think I'm at the point where I'm minusing targeting them yet. Sophie, yep. Alright, well, now I might be at the point where I'm minusing targeting them. Probably not though, because next turn we just get to ultimate and then have infinite Kolaghan's commands. Don't think they're playing a haste creature that they could put a sword on. Like another Skyclave would be. Oh my god. Oh, that's disgusting. They got that? This ain't gonna work out for you, bud. There's so many modes. I want to destroy an artifact and return a creature. There we go. Yeah, they needed to not take that thing. Should I just upkeep this? Like they have to block. I can just upkeep the thing. Or sorry, draw step it, I mean. Why not shock them twice? Because this is more fun. We get to win for a whole extra turn doing it this way. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, they needed to Skyclave the red and 6. Bolt go, pretty much. Alright, let's play the bolts. Ashiok stops them searching with Stoneforge. That's about the most relevant thing, though. Don't know that we need a spell bomb. I mean, Brutality kills the thing, but that's about it. It could take stuff like Path, Kaya's Guile, other nonsense. That doesn't seem super great, though. I don't like the hand disruption in the mid-range battle. But if I have to keep some, I guess I'll rather it be Inquisition. They could be playing like Lingering Souls, I guess, which would be a reason to play Spellbomb. I mean, it's also just cycles, so like there's no reason to not play it. I mean, the rest of the deck is pretty powerful versus this opponent, though. Like, I almost just don't know what to cut. Like, it could just be more Inquisitions, but I mean, Inquisition can have its moments. You know, Ooze doesn't actually look that strong. I almost want to just, like, have a Spellbomb over the second Ooze. Like, maybe we can just do, like, a 1-1 split of it. Yeah, Sand's fine. Not super stoked about it. We don't have a way to interact on one. But I guess neither does the opponent, so that's nice. Got the Stoneforge. Tidehall Scholar. They could just take our 2-mana thing. Or I guess like our removal spell. They're not taking Ashiok. They could take the Bloodbraid, but Bloodbraid is later in our curve. If I were the opponent, I would probably take Lily. Yeah. Especially because like they might have an answer to the Tarmogoyf. They could have Ashiok of their own, which means maybe I want to get some fetching done. I guess I'll play the creature that they know about. Like, I could play the Ooze because it trades, and Goyf has the potential of being bigger later. But I've only got one Ooze. Ooh, that's a good one. It's like no matter what they sacrifice, I'm getting some amount of value back. Like if they sacrifice Skyclave, I get a 2/2 to block the Sculler, and if they sacrifice the Sculler, I get another Liliana back, which is basically just more removal. Liliana's a good pickup. It'll also draw some fire. So now the opponent knows about my entire hand with the exception of Scavenging Ooze. Killing Liliana, no doubt. No? I mean, I guess they figure that I've already got a Liliana. Like a backup, so killing one doesn't necessarily do a whole lot. I mean, I definitely like just casting this Bloodbraid, though. I'll lead on plus. And then I'm just going to discard Ashiok, I guess. Like, this Ashiok isn't really going to do a whole lot. Like, the best thing it's going to do is prevent them from searching with the Stoneforge. But I just have so much better stuff to do with my mana. Yeah, I don't really understand not going after the Liliana there. I definitely want second red and then more green for the ooze, so that sounds like a stomping ground recipe. Then I'll be happy with just about anything here. That counts. And I think I actually want to keep second Liliana. Keeping second Liliana is definitely worse if my opponent has multiple creatures to deploy, but they didn't deploy anything. Like, they could have foreseeably, like, a Kaya's Guile. I almost want to just keep the Scavenging Ooze as a backup threat, but I mean, I've got so many threats, and I'm adding 4 creatures to the board. I'll keep the Ooze. The Ooze might just be good. Hey, more Bloodbraids. Alright, I'll jam with my Bloodbraid. But yeah, I don't understand not killing Liliana unless they've got some instant speed shenanigans. Like, if they're going to flash in a Restoration Angel, you got me. It looks like that might be the play, too. Oh, I guess not. They're just enabling Revolt. I mean, them not doing anything could be indicative of them just having a handful of removal. It's like we haven't actually put any creatures on the board until now. But I mean, their handful of removal gets a lot worse as we're taking away with a Liliana. Gain 4, make a 1/1? Sure. Yeah, I think that went pretty well for me. I mean, they still can't even kill Liliana. We just get to keep on plussing it. This seems very good for me. I mean, unless there's something that I'm not thinking of. Sure, Liliana takes 1. Could have had it dead last turn. Just drew the Batterskull, sure. Alright, well, Liliana's going to get to eat the last card that the opponent has. They could conceivably put the Batterskull onto the Spirit, which could get nasty. That could be a way we lose. So how do I play around that? Well, I mean, I'm definitely going to plus this Liliana. So let's start there. And then what am I discarding? Definitely not Ooze. Definitely not Bloodbraid. I could just discard the Spellbomb. I mean, Spellbomb could redraw me towards another way to deal with the Batterskull, however. I mean, in a pinch, that could come up, conceivably. I mean, it feels right to play a land here, though. Yeah, I want to play a land. Alright, and then we can spin the wheel on the Blood Braid. I mean, there's an argument to just playing the Ooze because if they draw like an Inquisition or something, we could get hit by it. Alright, well, we hit Dreadbore. Let's just take out the flyer. I don't even really care about getting a 2/2 back. I just want to kill the flyer. And then now, presumably, if they don't draw a creature, we can Liliana another one away. Stoneforge would be bad. Liliana of your own, that's fine. The best thing they can do here is plus, which is annoying. I mean, unless they want to trade with our germ. Oh, that was good. So now I get to kill the germ. And then Edict. I was going to say I can activate the Ravine after Edicting, and then like I can punch through the Liliana or just trade with the germ, but this is going to work out too. And then either order matters. Either order doesn't matter because like if they sacrifice the germ, I've now got Revolt and can push the Skyclave. The order actually just doesn't matter. All right, and they can't like draw a Fatal Push and blow me out here, so I can just kill the Liliana for Xaxes and then send everything else at the opponent. Liliana, opponent. All right, looks good. Yeah, the opponent not destroying the Liliana on that turn where they could have done it for free was really bad for them. I guess this would be a good time to plug my content. We've got a pretty decent crowd here on Twitch following our 3-1 journey. So if you're not already following me here on Twitch and you like what you see, this is a great free way to support my content is to hit that follow button. Also, if you're new here, I have all of my leagues recorded and posted onto my YouTube page, and you can find the name of my YouTube page on the bottom of your current screen. They revealed a Yorion. Not super stoked about this hand, but we've got a thing to do on one and some powerful follow-ups. Thanks, James, as always. Alright, so planes off of a Yorion. There's like a blue-white blink deck. Inquisition's a nice draw. We don't have to wonder for too long. I think let's get Blood Crypt. Gonna start with wanting to get red, and then obviously getting Blood Crypt because that's gonna cast our Inquisition. Pretty perfect draw. Stoneforge. I'm gonna let them have the Bugler. I'm more scared of the Stoneforge and like what it can get. Prince. Alright, Scry 2, I guess. Snapcaster redeemed posture check. Yeah, you got it. I gotta make these things worth more. Y'all care about me too much. It's annoying having to actually do these things that you're redeeming. They scryed 2 and topped both. Bob? Just another push. Alright, well, I guess I'll push the Charming Prince. They are a blink deck, so it's possible I should just get the push out of the way. Let's not just have some shenaniganified against us. Let's just kill this thing now and pass. They're very likely to just Bugler. Not a big deal. You redeemed the other one too? Did they brick? They bricked. That's good for us. Man, could you imagine if they bricked and then we drew Liliana? How lucky would that be? Alright, well I can season Pyromancer here, but I think I'm just going to keep the board empty. I mean, issue is like next turn I'm very likely to want to just play a Bloodbraid Elf. But I do like keeping the board empty because, like I said, they're very likely to be a blink deck of some kind. So I think killing Bugler is probably a good idea. And then I'll do it now so they can like ephemerate it or something stupid. So I'll get Overgrown Tomb now, I guess. Yeah, let's do this now. Now that I've got Revolt, let's get this thing out of the way so they can't blink it. And then next turn I'll run a Bloodbraid into a Seasoned Pyromancer, unless something changes. I actually have to go get water, Ian. I don't have any on me right now, which is bad. Yeah, another one maybe? Oh, they put Yorion in the hand. Okay. That's good for me. They didn't actually commit anything to the board here. Not great. That's likely to be pitched to a Pyromancer at some point. So let's hit a creature here. No removal, please. Creature, creature, creature. Or Planeswalker. That counts. Leonin Arbiter has been discarded. So they're just like a mono white Death and Taxes companioning Yorion. Haven't seen that before. So they do have Yorion in hand, but I mean if they're just gonna play a 4/5 with flying, that's something I could probably beat. Sure. Interesting that they're Skyclaving Bloodbraid when they know that there's a Kroxa likely to be coming down the line. That could just mean they've got another one, or they've got a way to blink this one. I mean, they've got the Yorion, so like we know they've got a way to blink it, right? That said, Liliana's excellent, because now we get to just have everything. Yeah, let's get this thing out of the way, get our 4/4. And then does it matter what land we play? I kind of want to have the Peatland in play because like that one can actually convert to resources later. But if I Pyromancer and draw a red spell, I'm going to want to be able to cast a red spell. So I think I'm fine just playing Blackleaf Cliffs. I just play the Peatland next turn pretty freely. Yeah, Liliana was very good here. Because again, there wasn't really a question of whether or not they had something to blink it. We know they've got the Yorion. They used their turn 4 to put it into their hand. Yeah, play a 4/5 with flying. Yep. Is the Monarch mechanic in Modern? I do not think so. Pretty sure it's not. Alright, well we get to empty the opponent's hand here between plussing the Liliana and escaping a Kroxa. And then, I guess I'll leave a land in the yard in case I hit like a Renin 6 or something. Yeah, this is going pretty well. There goes a path. Sounds good. Pass. And like now they kind of have to attack the Liliana here unless they draw something good. And they've got 2 looks at something good. They've got a Silent Clearing. Like they hit a Flicker Wisp here and they can like Flicker Wisp the Kroxa. That would feel bad. That would feel pretty atrocious. Alright, they gotta kill Liliana though. Makes some sense. I mean, we could conceivably be behind if they have found something like a Path to Exile too. It's like if they get rid of our Kroxa, that's fine. Give her okay. This is more than fine. Do I draw a card off of a Peatland here? I mean, I want a Seasoned Pyromancer, so whenever I draw, I'm likely to just discard anyway. I'm so ahead on board. Let me just not. Glyph, not bad. Well, I get to kind of just do everything now. Everything starts with an attack. Jam, jam, trigger. Take 3, go to 13. Would you like to take another 11? Or sorry, 10, put you to 3? Probably can't. Because then they're locked out of doing literally everything. What are the odds they play sweepers? Probably low. But I mean, I'll just overcommit because one of my creatures is drawing 2 anyway. They've got the Field of Ruin, but it is what it is. So it does look like mono white taxes, just companioning Yorion, which is cool. I'll get more red. I will sacrifice this Peatland that ends up. Cool. Alright, so mono white. Let's bring in bolts. Bolts seem good. Brutality is just another way to kill a thing, and they are playing a blink deck, so I definitely want to be able to kill their things. We don't know that they're actually playing lots of blink pieces. We just know that they're companioning Yorion. Or Yorion. I don't actually know how to say it. Inquisitions and Thoughtseizes tend to be pretty weak going late game. Thoughtseize can take Yorion. But that's about the only edge I think it has over Inquisition. I guess like we guessed that they're playing Restoration Angel, so Thoughtseize hits that. Don't think there's a reason to play stuff like Spellbomb. So I mean, it's really just, do I want to play like Inquisition over Thoughtseize? I think Inquisition's probably better if I'm just gonna have 2. Yeah, this all seems fine. There's not really anything here that I'm particularly excited about. Yeah. We've got our 2 best card advantage engines versus a mid-range deck. Yep. So I'm definitely going to get a fetch out of the way in case they've got Leonin Arbiter. They can't vial it in yet, so I'll just make sure to respond to it if they've got it coming off of the stack. Feeling okay. Double Ghost Quarter. This has like gotta be a Leonin Arbiter draw. Like that's like the only way that they keep this. I guess like maybe not even then. All right, so we've got Basic Mountain, Blackleaf Cliffs. So I guess Overgrown 2 makes the most sense. It makes our mana pretty perfect, but they've got double Ghost Quarter. I could just destroy the vial with the trophy, but then they get the white that they need anyway. So I think I'm just going to be playing a card advantage engine here. And if they're likely to start Ghost Quartering me and making it so I can't search, that it should probably just be Renin 6. So that if they like Ghost Quarter me, I can at least get back some things I don't have to fetch for. Would have loved to play the Bob though, at least. I'm gonna do it next turn. So yeah, Leonin Arbiter would make this progression look really make this progression make sense. No land? Yeah, they've got to have Arbiter. It's about the only thing that makes sense to me. I mean, I could play the Verdant. I think I will play the Verdant and then just not fetch. And then if they activate Vial in response, I can then fetch. This means I won't be buying something back with Renin 6, but that seems fine. And then I've got Mountain in hand, which makes Verdant strictly better than Wood of Foothills. Since Wood of Foothills gets Mountain, which I've got. So I'll plus this. And then just say go. And then when they activate Vial, presumably, I'll just sacrifice in response. And if they don't activate Vial, I'm like fine with that too. So if this is an Arbiter and they're gonna Ghost Quarter me twice, I've got basic Mountain. So what should I what land would I get? I guess Stomping Ground, because then they probably don't take me off of both of my green. And then if this is Arbiter and they Ghost Quarter me twice, it sucks, but you know, I played around it kind of okay. Oh, it's Stoneforge. Put a Batter Skull into play, maybe? Maybe they're going to like Flicker Wisp their Stoneforge. Maul of the Skyclaves, yeah. I mean, strictly from the standpoint of not having things getting flashed in against me, it almost looks attractive to Trophy the Vial. So, what can the opponent vial in at 3? They could vial in the Militia Bugler, which would have an attack looking really bad. Can I draw a spell, please? I mean, a Bob's a spell. I mean, a Bob's a spell that lets me hold up Trophy as well. I mean, I'm not going to attack into a Militia Bugler. That seems pretty bad for me. So I guess I should play Mountain and then use the Mountain to cast the Bob. Leaving up Trophy mana. Vial in response. Okay. Can't cast more than one spell. That's fine. See, now I'm actually okay attacking. Because, like, if I trade with the Stoneforge here, I think I'm fine with that. Like, I've got backup Bob. It looks worse if they've got Path for my second Bob. Maybe I should just not attack. And then I can, like, just return this Foothills. You know, I have surmised that this is some kind of blink deck. Although, given we haven't actually seen the cards that would blink. What is this? Oh, they're Ghost Courting themselves to get mana. I can't respond to this because I'm under an Archon. Do I want to trophy the Vial? No, I'm probably just going to trophy this Batter Skull. And then Maul does get to auto-equip. Attacking me. They're both going at me. I mean, this Archon is really annoying, just given that I'm going to want to be casting multiple spells a turn. I almost want to just kill this Archon. There's a lot that can go wrong, though. Yeah, let's kill the Batter Skull. I wanna keep a relatively high life total so that these Bobs can really get to work. And ideally, it finds me removal spells to deal with the Archon that way. Alright, and they are a Flicker Wisp deck. So the Flicker Wisp can be dealt with via the Ren and 6. Pretty annoying that it's just going to come back, though. Here comes the Batterskull. So I would love to draw a removal spell between the top 3 cards in my library. I need to lead on dealing with Archon. Pusher Bolt. That works. No, that one doesn't work. Nor does that one. Well, I could Collective Brutality the Archon, and then Ren and 6 to kill the Archon, and then I've got the Kolaghan's Command to deal with the Flicker Wisp and the Batterskull. That seems good. They can flash in the Maul of the Skyclaves, though, to give their Archon +2/+2. If they do that... So, like, they're going to have to respond to that play. Like, I have to -2/-2 this, and then I can ping it with the Ren and 6, and then they'll have to respond by putting in the Maul, and then I can... No, it doesn't work, because I can't cast multiple spells if the Archon doesn't die. So yeah, if I Brutality this, ping it, they flash in the Maul, save it, and they just untap and have the Vial again. Because this auto-equips, which is real annoying. Maybe I'm just better off trying to go after the Flicker Wisp with the Ren and 6, and then using the Kolaghan's commands to just shatter the Batterskull. That honestly seems slightly better. Because, like, if they flash in the Maul to save the Flicker Wisp, I can Kolaghan's commands do 2 to the Flicker Wisp and shatter the Batterskull. And yeah, I do have a bit of land, huh, James? I mean, I've been getting some back with the Ren and 6. Or they just let it happen. So I definitely want to use this Kolaghan's command to kill the Batterskull. So, I mean, I guess Brutalitying now is kind of free. I have basic Swamp to fetch, right? Yeah, I do. Yeah. The Kolaghan's command is an instant. Oh, it enters tapped. I'm stupid. Well, I guess I'm still Kolaghan's commanding then. Yeah, I'll have to Kolaghan's command. Should I just do it now? I don't want them to be able to like flicker something, but I mean they're gonna try to attach them all to something. So let me let them activate their Stoneforge. Like maybe they put it on the Germ. Alright, I mean I've only got one thing to do at instant speed anyway. This is basic center untapped, right? Yeah, okay. So I really want to avoid another copy of Flicker Wisp. They're both going at me again. Then I guess I could do 2 to the Stoneforge, make Liliana's potentially better. The opponent knew about Kolaghan's command as well. So now if they like try to save the Stoneforge, Yeah, like the mall being on the Stone Forge, I'm not super concerned about. Yeah, I'll go to 9. I need these bobs to be relatively kind. Bolts and pushes, please. Liliana. Not exactly. Peatland, okay. Another land. I mean, this is fine, though. I get to Brutality and Renin 6, escalating the Brutality, even a few times. My basics come in untapped, so I'll get a basic. We'll 3 mode this. You. Black, black. Let's just discard some lands. No Flicker Wisp, please. I mean, we're going to get to see it. They don't have it. We've got another Archon, though. You know, put in another Archon now so I can't cast a spell. Yeah. And then everything enters tapped, so I guess I'll play a Tomb. I will not pay the life. We're gonna get hit for 5, and then we need to hope that we don't take a lot of life off of these bobs. Yeah, these Archons have really messed me up. Like, I can draw all the spells I want, but it doesn't matter if I can't deploy them. A lot of the lands are out of our deck already, too. We've hit almost half of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Over half of them. Another Stone Forge. Forge Tender. I guess we get to see what equipment they're getting here. No, they just want us to flip. Alright, well, we need to hit 1 mana removal spell and then a land. Okay, or just die. And then we needed to draw something good. Our turn needed to start with killing Archon. Do I want Inquisitions or Thoughtseizes while I'm on the play? Still don't think so. I think I'm happy just resubmitting. Like, they do get better if I can take the Vial. But, I mean, they're pretty horrid top decks later on. Yeah, sounds good. It's got 3 of our important spells. If they've got the Vial, we can snipe it. They don't, which means it's on top of their library, right? Rest in Peace is probably the most annoying. I'll take that. They played Plains and they played Forge Tender. Liliana's a good pickup. Pretty unlikely to want to get Basic Forest on account of playing Croxa, so I'll play Verdant first. And then I'll Overgrown Tomb into Scavenging Ooze. Another one. Sure. Push is nice. So, I mean, no matter what I do, like if I Liliana minus, I can use my ooze to defend the Liliana from the other Forge Tender, but they can Flicker Wisp my ooze to get it out of the way, which doesn't seem good for me. So I think what's gonna happen is I'm just gonna hold up this Fatal Push and or the Skolagon's command and say go. I mean, I guess I could attack, but I mean, if I don't attack, this is defending my own life total. I mean, the opponent could just Skyclave Apparition, but if they do that, something funny could happen, where like they get my thing out of the way, and then like I like kill their Skyclave at instant speed, and then block a Force Gem. That could be funny. We'll see if it happens. Doubt it will. I think the opponent probably scopes this play out. I mean, if they attack all, that would be great. All right, they don't do it. Opponent's too smart. So, I mean, Kolagon's command can kill an equipment later. I mean, I could also just have them discard a card now. The issue is if I kill something now, I could Liliana minus and just like have the board empty, and that seems pretty strong. Just like get into a top deck war with a Liliana in play. Yeah, I kind of want to get into a top deck war with a Liliana in play. Let's get more red. I mean, they can sacrifice a Forge Tender to save the Skyclave Apparition, but that actually doesn't change the play at all, because then I just get to push the other Forge Tender and Edict the Apparition. Sure. Yeah, like order doesn't matter. I still have a valid target. They're going to get to Flicker Wisp the token that I make, which is annoying. I could just plus, but that seems pretty frivolous. Let me guarantee get some value off of this. I mean, we've got board empty with a Liliana. This Flicker Wisp is going to be annoying, but if I can draw removal to answer whatever they do here, I'm very ahead, I think. Because then I'll have like Liliana loaded up to kill the next thing. It's a big draw step. So like Flicker Wisps kill my illusion. Oh, Bugler. They can flicker their Bugler. I mean, this is still a big draw step. Arbiter. Alright, well, Arbiter can combo with Ghost Quarter. Imagine drawing Croxa here. Croxa here would be sweet, because I can escape it immediately. That's not a good one. Start here. I guess I'll value Second Forest. And now they get to, they could still Flicker Wisps just to get my illusion out of the way and then kill my Liliana with an attack, and that's bad for me. Yeah, this is going downhill. Hitting land in the top deck war was not good. I mean, like, I put myself in the position to be good in the top deck war, and then I just hit land. Alright, needs to be good. Nope. Like, in theory, my play was good, I think. Because, like, I had the board empty. Liliana on 1. Like, we knew that the opponent could Flicker Wisp, but I had a 3-turn window to find something good to, like, pull ahead. And it just didn't happen. I mean, this play is good for us, though, because, like, now this opens us up to having potentially good draws. Like, it's not actually adding another threat to the board. But we need to find it now. Like, it's got to be Bloodbraid or Kolaghan's Command. Best case scenario is definitely Bloodbraid into Kolaghan's Command. Bloodbraid. Well, we hit the Kolaghan's Command. That can kill the Maul and do 2 damage to the Flicker Wisp. Unfortunately, we don't have a good creature to get back. Let me just do this before they can flicker stuff. I mean, as good as that was, we needed a threat of some kind. They're still just chipping away and have 3 cards in hand. Yorion in the hand. I mean, if we can draw removal now, we can get it into an empty board. That'll do it. I mean, like I said, like I put us in the position where we needed to win a top deck war, and I think versus the mono white opponent, Jun can very easily win that. Like, we've got Bloodbraid, Kolaghan's Command, Liliana of the Veil, Seasoned Pyromancer. There's just so much we can hit. Kroxa. Like, a third of our deck is just, like, nuts. But, we hit 3 lands in our top 4. Not gonna do it. Another Bugler. Yep, little late here. Alright, so we got the 3-2. Respectable. Not great, but respectable. So I'm going to do a quick deck tech / wrap up for purposes of this recording, which is going on my YouTube channel. Alright, so this is a pretty similar list to what I did in my last recording. The only difference really was the experimental Leyline of the Void. We brought it in for 1 matchup, which was our mono-red Hollow One opponent, and it actually was pretty good versus them. Not because we had it on turn 0, but because we cast it on turn 5, which was the turn before their Underworld Breach, turn. So it actually did end up winning us a game there. We didn't fight against any Uro decks, unfortunately, in quotes, because, like, I'm happy I didn't, but, like, at the same time, we were trying to test the tech versus them. But, I mean, happy that I didn't have to play against it. But, I mean, all in all, like, it was a pretty okay match. Like, round 1, we played against Bant, the version with Noble Hierarch and, what's it called? Spellqueller. And then there were a few key draw steps where the opponent just, like, hit the exact card that they needed. Like, I know, like, in game 1, they really pulled ahead by top decking That's a Fairy. And then, like, in game 3, they pulled ahead because, like, they had a 4-card hand, 1 card we didn't know about. We needed to make sure it wasn't Spellqueller exactly. And it was Spellqueller. So, like, there were just some scenarios in that particular match where the opponent just, like, had the nuts. And it was just hard to play around the 1 card you don't know about. But, I mean, other than that, I think that particular matchup is on the bad side of even. I think we're probably about, like, 45-ish% to win the overall match. Maybe disfavored game 1. But yeah, the Hollow One matchup I already talked about. We played against Burn. My Burn matchup has got to be really good. My competitive REL record versus Burn is something stupid. Like, I'm like, I gotta be like 15-2 now against Burn. Like, that matchup just seems good. I hear a lot of people tell me that it's 50-50, if not even favored for Burn. But I think where I get the extra wins is timing when to play the threats and when to play the pseudo card advantage spells. The card advantage spells don't matter as much versus Burn because, you know, like stuff like Bob, stuff like Ren and 6. These are conducive to the longer games, which Burn doesn't let us provide. But the card advantage comes more in the form of the 2-for-1s like Bloodbraid, Liliana, Pyromancer Kolaghan's command. I think the recipe for winning a game against Burn is Terminal Inquisition and or a way to kill their first couple of dorky creatures, and then follow it up with either a sticky threat or something that can generate more advantage going forward, like a Liliana to pressure the hand, or a Seasoned Pyromancer to pad the life total, and then really bide time until you can stabilize at like 6 or 7, and then get your Glyph down and start attacking. And then round 4, we played against Black-White Stoneblade. I think that matchup was probably, again, pretty 50-50, as Jund matchups tend to be. The opponent didn't find a whole lot of Stone Forges, but they did find lots of Skyclaves and a few very timely ones. They had a mistargeted. I think they mistargeted with one of their Skyclaves. They didn't take us off of a Renin 6, which was about to ultimate with multiple known lands in hand and a Kolaghan's command in the yard, which that was kind of weird. But I mean, all in all, pretty solid league. That last match there, obviously mono white. I think that matchup should have been pretty good, probably favored for us, but it just didn't come together, and it happens. But I mean, yeah, everything felt pretty fine. I boarded out Inquisitions and Thoughtseizes a lot, but that's because we just played against a lot of mid-range decks. I'm still a fan of playing the 4th push before the first bolt. We played against mono, black-white, mono-white, dorky creature decks, so the bolts looked very good out of the sideboard, but they weren't. The bolts didn't kill anything that the fatal pushes also didn't kill, so I still liked really having the fatal pushes over the bolts, because again, I think the bolts are more likely to be. Sorry, the pushes are more likely to be applicable universally as opposed to just killing the smaller stuff. The bobs were excellent. I think maybe one game I flew a little bit too close to the sun versus the last opponent, but the Archons really messed me up. I think I could have very easily pulled ahead had all the cards I was drawing actually been able to be cast, because I was only able to cast 1 a turn. I was pretty bottlenecked. And the Liliana's, Kolaghan's commands, Blood Braids, they did well. They did what they were supposed to do, which is after you get all your 1-for-1s and then low to the ground 2-for-1s, you can really start pulling ahead with your 2-for-1s and 3-for-1s and things that even snowball into 4-for-1s. So, I mean, the main deck felt pretty good, or at least as good as it could. I was still pretty happy with the sideboard. We didn't bring in a whole lot. This sideboard isn't particularly teched for non-graveyard mid-range decks. If we're playing against a mid-range deck like Uro, we have things like Spellbomb, Leyline, Ashiok to bring in. But against the mid-range decks that don't use the graveyard, the things that play things like Rest in Peace, like the black-white and the mono-white opponent that we played, I'm really not bringing in any of this stuff. It's really just Brutality and Bolt. So the sideboard not really super tuned to play against the mid-range stuff. But if I were to expect to play against more like this league in the future, I would definitely put in some more super grindy tools on the side, definitely over things like Leyline if I'm not expecting a whole lot of graveyard shenanigans. So with that said, this recording is going pretty long. I'm going to go ahead and end it there. If you're currently watching on YouTube and you're not already subscribed, you definitely should. You'll see more content like this on the weekly. And until next time, have a good one and Jund them out.